And they had one wing that did maternity through midwives. These were not his doctors. And then the other wing, he and his doctors that were under him would perform childbirth. Okay? Let me go through this word. This word's horrible. And I may spell this wrong because I'm doing this really fast. Purpura fever. It is a streptococcal infection. It's one word. It's just, I'm too short to reach up any higher. It's a streptococcal infection. They call it purpura fever. And what happened is the women would come in to have children. Now, in this day and age, did women like to go to the hospital to have children? No. They delivered at home. The reason why is because they believed if they went to the hospital and had children, they would die. Also, they weren't very far from being wrong. Okay? They would contract a streptococcal infection called purpura fever, massively ill, and die. Now, midwives had a much better rate of people not dying. Okay, their fatality rates were near as high. So he went through and he studied the midwives, and there's actually a whole documentary over this. Okay, and he thought, well, maybe it's spirits. So when the midwives would first have a child was born in the area, in the ward, in the maternity ward, they would ring a bell. So he thought that was warding away the bad spirits. Okay? So they tried it. Didn't work. Didn't work at all. So they kept trying a number of different things, and then he started thinking about it, and he was like, we work on cadavers in the morning, and in the afternoon we go and be midwives. We help with maternity. Is there a correlation there? Maybe. Do you think they were washing their hands after they were poking around in dead bodies? No. Okay. So what he started doing is, okay, once we get done with the cadaver, we're going to take chlorinated lime water and clean our hands with it. Guess what happened? Yeah, the women that were having children there stopped dying. I mean, huge numbers. Okay, this totally changed that hospital. Semmelweis became avid about washing your hands. Now, did anybody wash their hands in this time frame? No. Nobody brushed their teeth, nobody washed their hands, nobody brushed their hair. Okay, these are things that are new to society. Okay?
What did you wash with?
Chlorinated lime water. So chlorine, man, bleach gets everything. So that's like a type of bleach, right? Chlorinated lime water. So if every other doctor that you ever knew never washed their hands, and you're sitting over here talking about it every second of the day, how important it is, what do you think they're going to think about you? That you're crazy. Yep. So, what do you think happened to him? They didn't. In a sense, they kind of might have. No? What do you think happened to him? He did. And he went crazy. He got fired from this school, from this hospital. Went nuts. Stayed in the insane asylum. That's where he died. Guess where he died from? Streptococcal infection.
That's so crazy.
Yep. In an asylum. Yep. All right. Next person is John Snow. Not the Soho district in the United States. Don't we know that everything from the United States is almost always a correlation to the part of the world? But there is a Soho district in London that John Snow was hired to discover why everybody here is getting horribly sick with this disease that's causing massive diarrhea and death.
You said he was from the United States.
No. Soho district. Okay, he was studying the Soho district in London. Okay, I'm sorry. He was in London. The reason why I was differentiating between the United States is because there's also a Soho district in the U.S.
Okay.
Okay, it's Soho district in London. Okay. He's being hired to figure out why is there this massive problem going on in the Soho district. He starts looking at the water, and he identifies and isolates cholera. Okay, so he is the one responsible for isolating cholera. He says the problem that we have is that there are too many people, and it's the water source they are sharing. If we eliminate the water source, we'll eliminate the problem, because that's where it's coming from. Cholera is a pathogen that lives in water. We didn't know that at that time. Okay? It's going to teach us a lot about water sanitation. Okay? He says remove the pump. Don't you know that was a big, bold statement to say at that point in time? He removes the pump, the disease goes away. Ergo, we create a huge, massive sweep of the sanitation movement. Lister. He is another physician at another teaching hospital. His problem is he is doing amputations. What happens if you do an amputation or have any sort of major surgical procedure done? Infection and death. Okay? High rates of infection and death. He decides he can figure out how to reduce that rate. So he is the first person to create a form of anti-sepsis. Don't think I'm going to make it, but I'm getting close. Anti-sepsis. Okay? Sepsis means infection. Okay? What does anti mean? Against. Very good. Okay? So he is the first person to go through and do an antiseptic technique to create anti-sepsis. Okay? Mean against infection. He takes a spray. Now we know it's toxic and carcinogenic. All the things we did that we thought were good, right? It's called carbolic acid. Okay? Some of you know what that is. Carbolic acid spray. And we'd have an amputation. The odds of them living was very slim because of the infection. So he'd spray this carbolic acid spray over the wounds. Fatality rates went down, he started living. Major breakthrough. Okay? He came around right after Semmelweis, so he like reinstated what Semmelweis originally said, so now people are listening. It takes a few people to get people to listen sometimes. Okay? So now they're listening. Hey, maybe if we wash our hands and we stay clean and we try to use antiseptics, our first antiseptic there, we might allow more people to live. 90 Nightingale. She was around during what we call the Crimean War. Crimean War. Okay? She is the founder of the Red Cross. Okay, those little Red Cross packets that everybody gets during a time of war. She's the one that came up with that. She's also the one that came up and said, hey, soldiers are dying strictly because they're not in a healthy situation. Okay? Strictly because they have dirty clothes on, they're in dirty beds, and they're underfed. Anybody know what an MRE is? Can somebody remind me what that stands for? Meals ready to eat. I knew it was easy and my mind was just too easy. Meals ready to eat. Those of you that haven't been in the military or aren't into extreme camping, that is literally a meal that is packaged and sealed tight, and you can cut it open and, like it sounds like, dump it or take a spoon and go to eat it. Okay? Those were originally designed off of Florence Nightingale's idea that a soldier must have proper nutrition. Because remember, she was a nurse during a war. She was on the front lines. She was a nurse whenever you did not want to be a nurse. She was a nurse whenever people came in and knew if they were going to be a nurse, they were going to die. Anybody know anything about that time frame and being a nurse in the war? You can pretty much guarantee that meant bullet on me, please. Whatever is going to happen to me, disease, whatever. It's a very bad time to be a nurse. Okay? She came through and she totally turned things around. Said these soldiers need clean linens, they need clean beds to stay in when they're sick. They need a change of clothes, and they need to be able to be fed. Basic necessities. So therefore, that even kind of compounded over when she created the Red Cross and gave us prisoners of war have to have certain nutritional content. They get those Red Cross packets. Okay? I know we make fun of them nowadays. A lot of people gripe about them. But that is what she was adamant about. It's proper nutrition and clean living standards. Changed it. She is the first person to create the School of Nursing. Very first School of Nursing. Okay? She is the basically founder of nursing in a sense. Okay? We'll talk about Jenner and Ehrlich when we come back, all right? Because they're both associated with vaccines, so we'll do that and chemotherapy. All right. There is a paper showing over microbiology contributors. That's the guys and ladies that we talked about today. You can go online, you can find some other major microbiology contributors or someone significant to microbiology. Someone that I always like to talk about, I just didn't have time today, is Typhoid Mary. She's carrier. Anybody ever heard of Typhoid Mary in your history class? Okay. There are people that are carriers of disease. She's one of them. You want to go, there's like a 50-minute video. It's very boring, I'm sorry. Okay. Over Typhoid Mary, even. You can use her if you don't have your textbook. It will be due next Wednesday night. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and open the quiz because all we'll have is Paul Ehrlich and Edward Jenner to talk about next week. I'm sorry, I know some of you have class in a little bit, so we'll talk about them next week. Okay, but I'm going to go ahead and open your Chapter 1 quiz. You notice some things I said may have disputed with the textbook. I say, remember what I said on Monday, if I say it, it overrides what it says. Okay? Any questions?
So what's the paper?
It is in Canvas. It's your microbiology contributors. So you choose one of these guys and you talk about it. Okay? What you find interesting. Delve, search, have a good time with it.